Hi, welcome back to Babbling by the Brook. I'm Mark Hoebee, Paper Mill Playhouse's producing artistic director. And today I am so happy to have as our guest two of Paper Mill's favorite leading ladies, who also happen to be two of my favorite people. Together, their credits on our stage number 16, although they've only appeared once in the same show. And you might recognize them from The Sound of Music, Mary Poppins, Lend Me a Tenor, Beauty and the Beast, and many more. Please help me welcome Jersey girls, Donna English and Elena Shaddow. Hi, Donna. Hi, Elena.
Hey!
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is so exciting. First of all, it's just exciting to see both of you. I haven't seen either of you in person in a little while. Let's just start with how are you doing in this time? Elena, I know I see you sometimes 8 o'clock at night delivering your beautiful music to the world, but how are you and your family doing?
We're fine. We're, taking it day by day. I've been doing schooling with the kids, and that's been a fun adventure for me to be more involved in their learning and really get inside the process of how they learn and what they're learning. And, they're at different levels. My daughter's in sixth grade and my son is in third grade, so they're at very different levels. But it's nice to be together. I mean, we have a lot of being together now.
I think we all were enjoying being together. It was a little bit of a shock for us, for my family. Then we got through a little bit of the time where we were a little sick of being together. Now we're finding routines and Saturday night game nights and
Oh, that's nice.
eating together, which we didn't do normally. We never ate together. So meals are a new thing for us, sitting down and cooking and all of that.
Yeah, we watch Jeopardy now. We never did that before.
Oh, I love Jeopardy. Love
The
it.
kids like it, so we're running with it.
Our favorite table game is Password.
Oh,
Uh,
that's
and I'll
fun.
give you just one clue, which is whoever's on my team wins. So,
Hmm.
Donna, how are you and your family doing?
We're great. We're doing really well. I just keep saying it's a really good thing. My husband and I like each other because I think it would be torment if you didn't like your spouse or your child. I like my child too.
Right.
She's, almost 18. She's about to graduate. And so she's like, in her room, hanging out, doing her thing on her phone and her computer and video games and things, and some schoolwork too thrown in there.
Right.
Yeah, she's doing, it's been really nice. Like my husband and I have such crazy different lives. He teaches in the city and then I work at night in theater. And so we haven't had this amount of time to just hang out and watch TV. And we're discovering all these great, series that we never saw. Like I never saw Fosse Verdon. I don't know how
Oh,
No,
I think it's been working, but oh my God, it's fantastic. And it's filling my I miss the theater community so much. I miss just like being in a rehearsal room with my community making art. And so it just, there they are in Fosse Verdon, like what's supposed to be 890 Broadway,
right.
and they're in rehearsal and they're in this creative process, and it's just totally filling me up with that. I'm getting some satisfaction, even though I can't do it right now. I'm getting satisfaction, watching their lives evolve. So
That
that's
just a little side note. That series was amazing, and Andy Blankenbuehler has worked with us. We know Tommy Kail,
yeah, yeah.
um, and Larry and I started watching that, but then we never finished. And um, it was very emotional for me to watch that because I was in that company of Sweet Charity when he died, when Bob died.
oh my God.
Oh,
So I have not been able to bring myself to watch the end of that series. Yet,
oh,
in my mind, I was titling this little Babbling by the Brook episode as the leading ladies of Paper Mill. Um,
oh.
we have long histories, I do, with both of you. Um, uh, Donna, let's just talk about a little bit about how you and I first met. I'll let you describe that.
Well, I think the first time we met was when I did the WAMU show at Northwestern my freshman year. And you're were you 2 years ahead of me or 1 year ahead
I
of
think
me?
it was 2 years. Yeah.
2 years ahead of you, yeah. So, and I just thought you were, so sort of glamorous, all of you guys. I just thought you were, well, because of course we all wore fancy, tuxedos and gowns and things in the WAMU show. And I really looked up to you. And so anyway, and then we became friends and we kept doing shows together and at Northwestern. Didn't we do West Side Story together and
Yes.
Pippin?
Donna played Maria in West Side Story.
Oh my,
The whitest Maria ever, and before there was correct casting in the thing.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I
that was a
sprayed
great
my hair
production.
black.
Right. That was a great production. Really
Right.
exciting. And then you moved to New York. Eventually, I moved to New York and
Yeah.
reestablished our long relationship and friendship. And I am wearing this. I don't know if it shows purple on the screen, but I did wear a purple shirt today in tribute to Northwestern and our relationship together.
I love that. I
And then
love that.
we'll get back to it because you have a very storied history with Paper Mill, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Yeah.
But Elena, so you and I have known each other for a long time, but I think our first meeting, was when you worked here in Carnival,
Mhm.
probably? Is that it?
That's my first time that I worked at Paper Mill, and I remember um, wanting that to be in that show so, so badly. Like I remember just going after it. I remember hearing rumors of it being that it was going to be at in your season or rumors or whatever it was. I guess at that point I was such a baby. I didn't even really know how the industry worked. I just knew that at some point in the future, Paper Mill was doing Carnival, and I just knew I had sung a lot of that rep in college and NYU, and I knew it fit my voice really well. And then the more that I learned about the character, I was like, oh my God, I want to play this. I want to play this. And I just almost had like laser beam headlight like focus on that particular job. And I was like willing to do anything for that job, including cutting my hair, which I did. I mean, my hair was very long. And you remember the director said,
Oh, yes, I
if
remember.
she wants this job, she's not allowed to be like a typical musical theater pretty girl, musical theater girl. They're only concerned with the way they look. And I was like, no, we are not. That couldn't be more false. But anyway, I digress. And you were so supportive throughout that whole process. And I think you guys saw how willing I was to go there. And so you guys were like so supportive of what I was doing. And I felt very supported, as I always have from that point forward, from you and the entire staff at Paper Mill and everyone there. But you were, I remember, particularly helpful in that one photo shoot that we did with the
Oh,
puppets around me.
yes.
Crazy. And I remember you like helping me with my hair. I mean, you were just so consummately like detail oriented. I felt so protected and cared for by you and by Patrick and Allison. It was really a wonderful experience. And
You're
Deb.
kind. I remember that was a complicated process and the show's complicated, the character's complicated.
The strange,
Um,
strange, complicated subject matter, all of that. And I felt like we all kind of went through the fire on that one. So
I, I still don't remember why we couldn't convince the director to put a wig on you instead of actually make you cut your hair.
I was gonna say.
I think it was more a test. It was just a test to see how willing I was to be not the pretty girl. Do you know what I mean?
You'll always be the pretty girl. But yeah, and there were a few tests for you on that. I remember you singing high seas and rolling around on the ground and getting either into or out of a dress.
You. Yes. Singing. Yeah. I remember I had the tutu on and I was screaming like, I hate him. And pulling that. Yeah. That was intense. Donna, did you see that show? It was
I did not.
so at the time. That was a great production. We had Paul Scheffler as the magician, as what was it? Is Marco? Is that the character?
Marco,
He was, and we had Jennifer Allen as, and they were extraordinary. I mean, extraordinary. They were so good.
it was great. And then you sort of went away for a while and did
Did I was like on the
amazing.
road. I went to do Piazza and didn't I went to London right after that to do Magnolia, and then anyway.
I'm going to just read off a couple of your credits while we're here. So not in any order, but The Visit with Cheetah Rivera, Bridges of Madison County, La Cage on Broadway, Woman in White, Fiddler on the Roof, Nine, Sweet Smell of Success, Les Mis, Showboat at the Royal Albert Hall, and on and on and on. And then we'll talk about those, but you did come back to us in a very special production, and both of you were in it together, right? And it was The Sound of Music. You were,
Yeah.
we had done that show in my tenure before. It was actually Amanda Watkins had played Maria, and that was a great production. But this one, and Donna was in that one too.
You were, Donna? You were in
I
both?
was, and I think that's the one Nick Jonas was in,
Yes,
wasn't he?
Nick Jonas.
Oh,
Yeah. Before he was Nick Jonas, you know.
That's
yeah.
a funny story. He was Kurt. I think he was
I think
Kurt.
so. Hmm.
And he was a local kid, and I'll never forget, we were in tech or something, and he came up to me and said, oh, Mr. Hoebee, my brothers and I have a band, and I've recorded a CD of a Christmas song, and would you mind if could you sell the CD at the gift shop during intermission? And I was like, sure, kid, good luck with that band with your brothers. Now he won't even take my call. But anyway,
We digress.
yes. But then you came back and played Maria for us in what was a spectacular production.
That was very special. Yeah, that was a fun time. And those kids, man, I love those kids. I'm still in touch with a lot of them. I teach a few of them voice still. One of Maya Fortgang, I helped her with her college auditions, and now she goes to Ithaca for musical theater. Yeah, like several of them. Amanda Harris, also, I helped her with her auditions and helped her scurry off to college. It's like so sad. They're all just
Yeah. I
grown up.
mean, it's so tough in this moment, but there's something very special about that show. I know, Donnie, you've done it a couple times. The music is great. You sing it on your 8 o'clock concerts all the time, Elena, which you can catch on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Yes, yes.
Um, uh, but there's something really special about that story and about the family that's created with the children, and when you have the right mix of cast. But that particular production was really, really spectacular, and you were brilliant in it.
No,
It's
thank
true.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. And now let's just switch over to Miss English, who's had a storied career too. Broadway productions of Living on Love, Nice Work If You Can Get It, Lend Me a Tenor, Broadway with George Abbott,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Off-Broadway Christmas in Hell, Taking a Chance on Love, Forbidden Broadway, which you created. So your Julie Andrews impersonation, I still remember. And of course, I will never forget, because two little tidbits. Donna's a brilliant singer, right? And a comedian and great actress too. But in college, you were my backup dancer. Do you remember that?
Yes, I
I
do.
did a number my senior year called Tipsy Over You, written by my good friend Andrew Aid. And I had 3 backup dancers, Ines Lamans, Pam Hardin, and Donna English. You were this brilliant soprano, just really, a gorgeous classical musician, I felt. And then all of a sudden, friends said, oh, Donna's starring in this off-Broadway show and you should go see it. Ruthless. And I went down and I was blown away by your performance, your comic timing. That whole production was spectacular and
Yeah.
changed my view of you as a performer. And I think, well, I'll let you talk, but I think it changed the way New York looked at you as an actress and multi-talented and a comedian too, right?
Yes. Yes, and it changed my view of my abilities actually. Because at Northwestern, I was always, the leading lady, like you said, pretty much the straight leading lady. And I sort of had this opera training, well, I mean, I had in high school. And then I came to Northwestern as a voice major. And then after the first year, I thought, I don't think these are my people. And I want to go hang out with those theater people because I always knew I wanted to do musical theater. So, but I had this classical training. And so when I came to New York, I had to learn to sort of shift that and learn how to mix my voice and kind of do a more belty thing. And I got cast in this, the first thing I did, this off-Broadway show at River West Theater, where I was, it was pastiche. Eddie Corbett was in it. It was great. We were all very young. But I auditioned for it and I didn't know I was funny. I was just playing like what I thought was a straight kind of girl from the Midwest. And they thought it was hysterical. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm funny. People are laughing at this. And then I got cast in Ruthless. And we had done it, the workshop of that was very, was only the first act. It was the bad seed. And then in the second act, then when we went off Broadway, they developed it into, they expanded it. And so that Judy became Ginger this year. They sent me this script and I was like, what? And then they said, watch The Women and watch All About Eve for the style. And I was like, okay. And then we came and I just found that crazy second act character. And it was the first time I played a really powerful character. Ginger's got a few things to say to the world. And it really, it completely, I had mainly played sort of the ditzy ingenue or the straight leading lady. And so then it gave me this whole, I just found this whole other part of me as an actress and as a singer too, really. And it changed my perception of what I was capable of too. And so that was great.
It was a brilliant tour de force performance. And I remember even the difference between that sort of little perfect housewife in Act 1 and then the Act 2 Ginger character. And you had some good castmates in that show. That was Laura Bell Bundy, right?
Yes, Laura Bell Bundy played my daughter. She was brilliant. Just 10-year-old, like dynamite kid.
And was it her understudy was Britney Spears?
Yes, well, yes. Her first understudy was Britney Spears. And then she left to go do the Mickey Mouse Club. And we all know what happened after that. And her second understudy was this lovely little beautiful kind of shy girl named Natalie Portman, who was the second understudy. So I just laugh and I'm like, wow, one became Laura Bell became a Broadway star, and now she does film and TV stuff as well. And then Britney became a pop star, and Natalie became a movie star. And what are the odds of that?
And you became a star on your own, but you are a paper mill star.
I am.
Donna holds the record of performing in the most shows ever in the 83-year history of Paper Mill Playhouse. She is the actress who has the most shows under her belt. And I'm going to name them. Okay.
You were in 12 shows, is that right?
I think it's 12. Yes, it's 12. One repeat. So it's Secret Garden. I'm not giving years. Secret Garden, Sound of Music, Harold and Maude. We could do a whole show on that one. I directed that. Meet Me in St. Louis, High School Musical, Hairspray, Sound of Music again, Lend Me a Tenor, Grease, Comedy of Tenors, Beauty and the Beast, and Cinderella. Right.
Wow. Yeah.
That's an even.
I loved them all.
Crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But what's great about it is that there were almost, except for Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella, which were at the end of one season and then sort of the beginning of the next season this last year, they were all had a couple of years, 2 or 3 years between them. And so that was great because I loved Paper Mill so much. I love your crew. I love all those guys so much. I love your administrative staff. I love you. I get to come work with my friend and you and and it's my favorite when you're directing and we get to create together in a room. And the place is extremely special and has such an amazing history, and you have such loyal patrons and donors, and I've gotten to know all those people over the years, and it's just really impressive because it's also the love that you and the other leadership at the theater give to the actors and the crew and everybody involved. That when you talk about it as the Paper Mill family, but it really is, and I feel like I'm going home every time I get to come back there. I'm always thrilled.
You're very, very kind, and we love having both of you here. My only question is, how come it on this screen right now, you look like you're just out of college and I look like somebody's grandfather? I don't know what happened there, but it's an amazing legacy. And I think one of the best parts I've discovered about my job is making new connections and meeting new artists, directors, designers, actors, but also to be able to offer a platform to people I love and respect and want to be with, and to give them a place to, shine, do something new. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, what is a dream role for each of you that you've not done, or maybe one that you want to recreate, that might be, something Paper Mill should consider in the future? What might that be, Elena?
Oh my gosh, I have to go first. First,
Well, you don't have to.
It's really hard.
having this chat, I just want to also just let you know, Donna, that I've always looked up to you as an actress and as a singer and as a mother. And I just hope you know how much I love your story of what you just said about how you learned so much more about yourself when you learned that you were doing something comedic, and then all of a sudden you're like, I learned something about myself as an actress. And I have to say, that is something about you that I really admire, is you are so skilled. You are hysterical and you are so elegant when you have you have such a stunningly beautiful instrument. It's just always so wonderful to watch you work, and to have not that I'm that much younger than you, but to have followed in, to have watched you work and then go, okay, I want to try being like her. You have so many skills, and I just need to let you know that I've always thought that about you since I met you, and I just had to get that off my chest because I just admire you so much.
Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I feel the same about you. I have amazing admiration. I mean, when I went to, we did Sound of Music together, and then I got to see you do Mary Poppins after that, and I thought you were fantastic and quirky and funny, and
That was definitely fun. Okay, so as I think,
Let's not leave that for a second, because I have to say that you were brilliant in that role, Elena. I mean, you had a good director. No, I have to say that I've had the great honor and pleasure of working with both of you as a director, and you both bring so much to the table, into the room. First of all, joyful, positive energy, the kind of spirit where, I just want to be in the room with you, with both of you. But also fearlessness, right? The openness to try anything. We did some silly stuff in Mary Poppins, and that's a crazy, crazy big show. And that was another one that I thought was such a special production, and I thought you were just brilliant. So, but anyway, okay, dream roles, not Mary Poppins.
okay, well, Mary Poppins was one of mine. I'd always been sort of really wanting that. I mean, I would always revisit Anna in, I think, The King and I. I went on tour with that a couple years ago, and
I
that
love that show.
that to me is something that I feel I didn't like. You know how I remember having an acting teacher in college, Diane Chesla, I love her so much. She said, sometimes you'll never crack the role, and you'll be sitting in a bathtub 2 months after your show closed and go, oh, that was that moment. And I did that after I got off tour. I was like, oh my God, now I get it. I was like rereading my script and my notes. And there are a few moments in that show that I would revisit. I would revisit Francesca and Bridges in Madison County for sure. I think that if there were any theater that I would do it at, it would be Paper Mill. I mean, if you were to do that show.
Well, those two shows are on our list. I
Oh,
directed King and I years ago here in 2000 something with Kevin Gray and Carol Lee.
oh wow.
It was a beautiful production. It was brilliant, but I was a young director. They were both so skilled and spectacular. But I agree. That's a show I'd like to revisit as a
Yeah.
director.
As a, it's a beautiful show. It's timely. It's very timely as far as, trying to be a good leader and you see a person that actually is, trying to be a good leader. Anyway, it's it's a wonderful, wonderful piece. Classic. And then, yeah, like I said, with Bridges, I don't think that I would really want to do it in any other theater because it's
Mhm.
so close to my heart and because it was so extremely emotional as a piece. And it was hard to walk away from having created it like that and then having to, not having to, but having had the opportunity to. But I think that if I were to do it again, I would only do it at Paper Mill.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
Elena Shaddow in Bridges of Madison County and The King and I.
There you go.
It's in rep. Uh,
Amazing.
Donna, on the same set.
Yep.
Hmm.
King and I in
Donna,
the day and the Bridges at night. It's like, like a summer stock. There you go.
Donna, what would you?
Something I feel like I've grown old enough to do. Not that it requires you to be that old to do it, but I think I've had enough parenting experience and challenges, and self-reflection that I think I would really love to try Light in the Piazza.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Another one that's on our list.
Oh, I just
oh,
got the chills. Donna, I just got the chills. Yes.
I know.
Oh,
I would just, it's such an amazing score and such a complex, wonderful character, and those relationships are so complex and layered, and I just think it's a brilliant, brilliant show, and I'd love to take a crack at that.
Okay.
Not a comedic role,
Okay, that's right.
but
Light in the Piazza starring Donna English. We'll do it in rep with, okay. Um, and actually, that's actually, it's interesting because all three of us are parents.
mm,
And that show and that relationship, and wanting the best for your child, but also having to let them go and accept your children for all their successes and challenges, which
mhm,
is part of the growing process for the parent in that relationship, right? And so, just as we come to a close here, we have a few more minutes. I just want to, because I've had this challenge of what it's like to have a life in the theater and to run a theater and to raise a family. My son is 21 and my daughter is 17. And so, just talk a little bit. We understand the challenges, or we heard a little bit of the challenges of what it is in this moment with dealing with the, lockdown and virus, but just give us a little insight into maybe a moment of challenge or of joy, balancing your life in the theater and your life as a mother.
hmm. Um, well, I mean, I feel lucky that I'm so grateful right now that my child's not like 3, because I think I'd lose my mind trying to handle lockdown with a toddler and explain things. But beyond that, just we get this question a lot. I think that when I'm out of town working and you have talkbacks, and sometimes people have no idea kind of that actors have these other rich, full lives, and all working moms and parents have challenges because it's just hard to balance. But I think ours is challenging. I find it challenging as a mom that I am, when I'm working, I'm gone. I'm gone at rehearsal all day, and then it shifts and I'm home a lot more during the day, but then I'm gone at night. And and I think my daughter's kind of come to understand it now. Obviously, she's older and she doesn't really want me around too much. She's fine when I'm gone. But especially when she was younger, I think it was very confusing to her, and it was hard for me to be completely present when I was between shows, and then to really sort of just be gone. And I was always checking in and co-parenting and all of that, but I think that's the most that's the most challenging part. Or when you have to go do a show, or you have to be at tech, and you know they're really going through something. And I'm so grateful for cell phones and texting and FaceTime and all of that. And I think the industry has changed as far as their acceptance of working moms. It used to be there were very few. I was always the only mom in any company.
Yeah.
And there were dads whose wives had maybe given up the business and they were staying home with the kids. And now I'm so thrilled to see young moms like Elena and others, that who I work with, who are embracing that, and they're saying, I'm going to do this and we're going to make it work. And I think that the producers are, you've always been very understanding of that, partly because you're a parent yourself, but just because you get that people have lives outside of their work.
It makes them better actors and better performers, I think, because you have that richness, and I think those experiences make you a better performer.
Yes, I agree.
Elena, you have a thought?
Just to add to what Donna was saying, I mean, when you're working, when you take a national tour and you have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, because this is your job, it's not, I don't think people understand the level of separation that needs to happen. And it's almost like you have this tether that's attached to you. It doesn't matter if I'm in Albuquerque and they're in New Jersey, or if I'm in Toronto, I'm always connected. I mean, I would be backstage, like taking selfies or having like silent FaceTimes while like Jose Lana was on stage singing, and I'd be like, just to check in with them, to make them laugh, to make sure. Thank God for cell phones, and thank God for that. But there's never a moment that, I mean, for me anyway, as a parent, I can only speak for myself, that I'm not thinking of them. And so I have had to make a lot of choices for myself and my family that actually have gone away from career choices, and not because I don't want to work. It's not that. It's just that I think that the age that my kids are at, they're 12 and 8. They're right in the crux of childhood. I'm still at the place, Donna, where like Addie still wants me around, and so I want to be with them, and I want to be able to nurture them. And I luckily have a large career behind me and resume that can sort of take me forward. But in this little time, I'm like, I'm kind of, I kind of had to say no after I got off tour to a lot of projects that I could really, I almost felt like I had to do like damage control after I got home off of tour. So there are those elements of like, how are you weighing what your passion is and what you need to do for income, and, the well-being and development of your children. I mean, what's going to come first? I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer, obviously. And every mother has to make that choice, working mother, working parent. I
I
don't
And
know.
that's why I'm so very thankful for Paper Mill, which is 20 minutes from my house.
Same. 40 minutes, but worth the drive.
Elena lives in Hohokus,
Yes.
Oh,
which is
that's right. That's
the town where
right.
my grandparents lived, and is very close to my heart. And even though I lived in New York for many years, I lived in Chicago, all over the world, New Jersey is, my home. I'm a Jersey boy. I consider Jersey girls in the most positive way. But just to wrap up, I want to say, as another parent, yes, you're always weighing those issues and challenges and decisions. And I've been in tech and on the phone and dealing with crises, and sometimes had to leave the theater and said, I'm sorry, I've got to go because my family needs me. But I think that the upside to all of this is that your kids are seeing a parent who loves them, that's not a doubt, and has a passion and a career, and is a creative artist and wants to grow. And that's what we want all our kids to find, right? We want them to find something that feeds their soul, and something that makes them understand and other people, and the magic that can be created when people have open hearts and open minds. Um, and that means sometimes you're away. Look, sometimes you're away if you're in advertising. My dad was, and he was on trips all the time. But and kids have to learn that. And so I think you're both wonderful moms. I know that you're wonderful actresses. You're
Thank you.
amazing jewels in the paper mill crown. And I'm just so happy to know you as on a professional level, and to call you my friends. And I look forward to the time that maybe I could direct both of you in a show. That would be the A plus plus. But in any case, to have you back here at Paper Moon, I just want to thank you both for sharing this time with me and with our viewers, and just say I love you both and thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Love you
week.
too.
Bye.
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 Thanks for tuning in. And remember, don't miss our Humanities Symposium series, which airs on Facebook on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And then on Mondays at 7 p.m., we're airing our New Voices concerts. I hope to see you at both of those events. And join us here next week when we have a little Dream Girls reunion with my Dream Girls, Angela Robinson, Sharon Wilkins, and LaTanya Holmes. See you next time on Babbling by the Brook.
Sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into springs. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when